Peace, peace, family. How's everybody doing out there? I know you're tuned in for this very interesting show tonight. As y'all can see, I got my brother BDell. BDell, I want to welcome my brother BDell back to the platform. BDell, welcome back, my brother.
Peace back at the Madison Square Garden of Consciousness. We in the house, man. So it's glad to be back. We in the building.
It's showtime.
It's showtime, man. It's showtime.
Oh man, BDell, man, you've been on a tear all year long. Last time the brother Rod Hayes was on here, he had high praises for you, brother. So definitely just keep doing your thing, man. We are oh, by the way, family, BDell, let me share this before we start. Give me a second, y'all. Why isn't this thing? Hold up, yo. Give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, before we start, since I don't have my commercials queued up, gathering the masses is going down, family. People are buying tickets. Shout out to everybody who bought tickets so far. Everybody's in the Discord. I just sent the Discord link out tonight. So a lot of people are in the Discord. We're having a community chat for everybody who signs up for the gathering of the masses on August 10th and 11th, located in Stonecrest, Georgia. Dead in the middle of Atlanta, right next to Atlanta. So very accessible to everybody. The link is pinned at the top of the chat, family. You don't want to miss this. And the brother I got on tonight, is going to be there. The brother BDell will be there, family. Yo, BDell, it's going to be, the people going to be real happy to see you, brother. Real happy.
I know, right, man. And it's a wonderful time to be alive because, man, a lot of the people that's attending the conference, a lot of people that's speaking, I've been watching this channel, you know what I'm saying, since I was younger. And it's good to see people like Asira Duke of Tears and you got Dr. B Serious, all these people, man. It's a good time to, just to connect with the elders.
I can't wait. The first time I was introduced to you was the first time Yaki was on my channel. So I can't wait for you and the brother Yaki to meet each other because he played a video of yours.
Right.
When he first came on, and that's how I first found out about you. So it's gonna be great, y'all. Family, don't forget, this is a live event in person. So get the tickets before they sell out. Don't think you ain't gonna be able to get tickets at the door. Most like tickets are gonna sell out. People have been buying tickets. This is probably the that has ever happened in the metaphysical community. So make sure you get your tickets ASAP, family, to guarantee your seat, to guarantee your spot. It's limited. This venue only has limited seatings. But with that being said, I'm glad my brother BDell's going to be there. Everybody else, Queen of Four, Dr. Jew Pookum, Sister Myra, Dr. B Serious, Yaki Awaken, I see the Duke of Tears, and everybody else that's coming through. BDell, AA Rashid, brother Sharif Bey, Infadishi, Raz Ben, Red Pill, Blue Pill, KT the Arch Degree. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, truly epic, man. So look forward to seeing y'all there. Shout out to everybody who signed up, everybody who's in the Discord. With that being said, BDell, man, seeing a video you put up. First of all, BDell got some of the most interesting on the internet. You have to go to his YouTube channel, BDell1014. The brother has amazing videos on his channel. I check him out whenever I get an opportunity to. And you had a video up there. You was talking about, I think it was called the Mental Stargate. Yes. Was that Mental Stargate? And you was talking about, in that video, you was talking about the sun pulsating. And I'm like, yo, I keep hearing about the sun flickering, flashing, pulsating, going like that. And I'm hearing this from everybody: white people, black people, Asian people, Indian, everybody across the globe is all over TikTok saying how this sun is flashing or blinking or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And when you made that video, I said, got to get that brother on the channel to talk about that one, because we are living in some extremely important times. With that being said, BDell, what's really going on? Is the sun really flashing? Are we exaggerating? And if it is, what's really going on, my brother?
There's no exaggeration that's taking place, because ever since the solar eclipse, we can all agree that, the energy of the sun has been very different on the planet. Right. Because the spiritual significance of the sun pulsating is that it basically vibrates the third eye. So when you understand that the inception of human consciousness is an orb of light, which is your ethereal state, right? That works in tandem with the energy of the sun. So one thing you got to understand is that Metatron's cube basically sucks up microscopic waves of energy that basically subjugates the magnetic field of the body. So when the body is in a form of spiritual subjugation, which is a form of spiritual entrapment, it basically subjugates the capillary fields. The capillary fields are basically beams of electrons that work off transverses of light of electrical energy that implements acceleration of plasma energy that works in tandem with the carbon body by way of magnetism. So the magnetism in itself works in tandem with the sun, because like I said, we all know that carbon is the building block of all civilization. So with that being said, this is a time of karmic retribution, whether you think it, whether you speak it. It's one of those things where the ethers is being activated by way of manifestation. So as I was saying before, ever since the solar eclipse, that was basically the black sun passing off a purifying energy to the sun simulator. So it's basically, opening up the doors of the interstellar gateways that takes you to the higher dimensions, not just on the physical perception, but based on a mental perception as well.
So the sun we see in the sky is the sun simulator. That's what you're referring to
Yeah,
as the sun.
basically opposite. The reason I got that concept because there's a sigil in the Freemasonic rites. They show you that there is a spiritual sun outside of the dome, which is the star Polaris, and then you got the sun and the moon that's basically connected to the dualistic paradox of the energy extraction matrix. So it's basically working off fractions of light from the spiritual sun that's out of the dome. And then it also shows the womb of creation, the black sun. So that's why I said the black sun passed off an energy to the sun simulator for the great purifier. So this is in conjunction with the Hopi prophecy as well. When you're talking about the blue star Kachina, which is the 9th and final sign before the great day of purification.
What's the great day of purification?
It's basically like a purifier. So anytime that you speak truth, the truth has an octave vibration that works in tandem with the sun. So when you understand that, ancient Proto-Semitic languages, ancient Moabite languages, it's all connected to the alphabetical symmetry of light. So when you have an octave vibration that connects with the sun by way of magnetism, because ancient Proto-Semitic languages are basically highly magnetic. So the European Albion dialect in itself is an electrical language. So that's why a lot of times we're not able to manifest the way we're supposed to. You can manifest, just by way of the energy of your mind being in alignment with, with your goals and your manifestations or whatever. But we'd be able to manifest a lot more, intrinsically if we was tapped into our octave languages, tonal languages.
What would be an example of an octave tonal language, you think, in antiquity?
Ancient Moabite, ancient Proto-Semitic, all those languages. So that, like I said, it's a pulsating energy with the sun that's going on right now. It's a pulsating energy. So like I said, it connects you to the ethers. That's what this is all about. Anything that you speak, anything that you think is going to manifest a lot more faster than it did 5 to 10 years ago. Just like the guy, I know you've seen that that cop, he unalived a young boy, a black boy, and he was going for his information in a glove department, and the cop killed him. And then the father turned around and did the same thing to the cop's daughter on prom night. So like I said, it's a form of karmic retribution with many different things that takes place, because negative energy begets negative energy, positive energy begets positive energy. It all depends on what vibration that you're projecting out, in the sun, in the simulation.
Wow, what an earful. What you mentioned the blue star Kachina. What was that? You put up a video and it's flowing all over TikTok of a girl was in, I think, Portugal.
Yeah.
And his blue comet came flashing through the sky.
Yep.
What was that? What was that? Because you put, what was that exactly?
Well, in my opinion, I think that was one of the 9th and final signs or whatever, because I got many different publications that basically talks about when you study astronomy, meteors or comets or asteroids are not really blue. So in my opinion, I think that was kind of the 9th and final sign before the great purification period, because now when the precursor to what's going on right now, you got 6 planets that's basically in alignment right now, and that happens like every 100 years. So this phenomenon and all these celestial anomalies that's taking place, this is, it's not a coincidence that it's actually taking place during the karmic year 2024, which is known as the 8 year. So everything is a form of karmic retribution. So like I said, that's in alignment with the great purification. And then you also heard about those 9 pillars of light that was in Japan. You heard about that?
No, what happened with that?
It was they showed like different beams of energy coming from the sky. It was 9 pillars of light. And then it's also not a coincidence that during that time period you had Japan, they're looking for so-called black men to basically procreate with their women for $75,000, right? So that means that the pulsating energy of the sun has the ability to break down the genetics of the people who are not basically connected to the planet. When you understand the recessive genetical traits and the delineation between 6 ether and 9 ether.
Indeed. Wow.
Go
ahead.
So what I'm saying is like the pulsating energy of the sun is like it's a certain vibration and an energy on the planet, and it works in tandem with our reproductive organs, and it works in tandem with our mental faculties as well.
So if it works in tandem with our reproductive organs, the souls that are coming to the planet at this time, are they coming from a place where all other souls on this planet didn't come from, since the sun is blinking at this time? Like where are these souls coming from?
Well, that's a good question. I can't really, specify, where the souls are actually coming from, but I know that sun is basically an interstellar vortex portal that's taking us to the interstellar gateway of the higher dimension. So we're going to have access to all these things that was, as far as the inception point of the spiritual cutoff that took place. So like I said, you got the firmament breaking down in increments. So all these fractions of light, these gamma radiations that's hitting the planet, all this transversing into a 5th dimensional civilization. So this is why they want to merge humans with cybernetics. This is why they want to, implement transhumanism and things of that nature, because they know that the mental faculties and our spiritual gifts works in tandem with the pulsating sun. So it's another way, because technology locks down DNA.
Technology locks down DNA.
Technology locks down DNA. It's what you call the silver key. The silver key, which is the lunar light lock energy. So like I said, it's one of those things where, as far as like Elon Musk, when he's trying to implement Neuralink or whatever, because I was telling people before, God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. So when your mind is working in tandem with cybernetics, you're not able to tap into your God power by way of the mental stargate. All that is connected to the energy of the sun. So they, like I said, they know that the planet is basically transmuting into a 5th dimensional civilization by way of the energy of the sun that's operating in fractions of light with the star outside of the dome.
When was the last time this planet was a 5th dimensional civilization?
I say back during the time of Atlantis.
So
during the time of Atlantis. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going back to that, like the consciousness is going to be on level of the Atlantis.
Yeah. Matter of fact, there's a movie that came out. It was because a lot of people's their perception of a 5th dimensional civilization is by way of, because things are basically producing intrinsically on a technological level on the planet. There's a movie that came out where you could hear people's thoughts, literally. So where they weren't able to speak, you would be able to see a person and you'd be able to hear their thoughts, and you won't have to speak. It's kind of like a telepathic language where you have genetic abilities and things of that nature. That energy is going to come right back to the planet by way of the energy of the sun. So like I said, this all works in conjunction with our spiritual gifts, because our spiritual gifts works in tandem with our sexual power. So like, as I was telling you before in the mental Stargate video that I was putting out, your sexual biological fluids is your cosmic fuel, for astral travel. So this is like I said, they want, you can't spill the cup of Hermes. Hermes is Melchizedek. Melchizedek is Thoth. So the spirit of Melchizedek, they want you to spill your cup of Hermes, because when your cup is not full, that means that you're basically subjugated by the 3-dimensional construct of the matrix. You know what I'm saying? You got too many holes inside your aura to where you leak out energy. So that's why I'm saying, like, your sexual power works in tandem with our spiritual gifts, and your spiritual gift works in tandem with the pulsating sun.
Wow.
So it's like a trilateral connection.
Yeah, so sexual discipline is absolutely necessary at this time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Sexual discipline, semen retention or whatever. But this is why they propagate people like Sexy Red, and they do all the sexual proclivities and sexual degradation and sexual gratification. That's why they implement that. Because like I said, it's not a coincidence that, when you watch, sexually gratifying type of, when people who watch porn or whatever, it's not a coincidence they call it XXX, because they know that our X gene is acclimated to our spiritual gifts.
Indeed.
That's not a coincidence they call it X-Men. Because they could have, they could have called it YYY, ZZZ. Why would you call it XXX?
I asked you that question. We did a show on the power of X. Remember that show we did on the power? Yeah, and we brought that up. We was talking about that's powerful, yo. That's some powerful shit. That's why they call it XXX. Wow. Damn.
So like I said, as far as going back into the correlation of the sexual energy, like I said, the more intense the sun gets, the more it's going to give power to the carbon body, and the more it's going to dematerialize the recessive genetical traits of the beings who are on the planet. That coincides with the book of Leviticus when you're talking about the Canaanites. That coincides with, certain demographics of people who have the 6 ether genetical properties. Because 6 ether dissipates into nothingness. 9 ether is only in a state of evolution. It puts you in a state of evolution. So it's going to be a time period where they're going to need to recruit a lot more black men. This is just an hors d'oeuvre of what's happening on the planet right now, but they're going to try to do it a lot more because they know our energy and our genetics is connected to that sun. Carbon is the building block of all civilization. So they have to extract our energy. They have to extract our vitality, and by many ways of eugenics and things of that nature.
Do you think will this pulsating sun that's connected to our reproductive organs, will this pulsating sun increase our sex drive? Like most definitely. Okay. All right.
Most definitely. Yeah. Because like I said, I think Rod Hayes, he said something about like the Birkeland current. It's like it has your sexual energy, especially the woman's intrinsic sexual energy. It has an orgone energy. So when your sexual energy is intact and you controlling it, because you're not subjugated by the emotions of the matrix system, when you're able to control your sexual energy, you can control the weather. You know what I'm saying? That's just the physiology of the woman. You know what I'm saying? Her genetics, the divine feminine energy works in tandem with Mother Nature. But the inception of that energy works in tandem. Like I said, you got to control your sexual power. That's what it's all about. Because they know that we're converting from the visible light spectrum of the energy of green by converting to blue. Blue is the great purifier. You purify yourself by not connecting yourself to the outside forces and outside simulation. You got to control everything all around you. Because as I was telling you before, the spirit of Melchizedek is based upon 3 different faculties. You got the neophyte stage, then you got the adept, and then you become a master. You don't become a master until you master yourself in this realm by way of detachment. So if you're not able to detach yourself from the food, detach yourself from many different things that are basically forms of distraction, it's going to be harder to tap into that interstellar gateway of the mental stargate. Because I was telling people before, a person would tell you that the sky is purple if the color blue hurts their feelings. So you got to be in alignment. Your logic and your mind, everything has to be working in tandem with the planet.
Wait, give me a second. I'm show right now. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Wow. That makes a whole lot of sense, brother. That makes a whole lot of sense in terms of the discipline. And I hope our people are, because like you said, with the Sexy Red and everything that we're getting in the media, it's like we're getting the opposite of that. And what I noticed is that a lot of brothers who did not have sexual discipline, when they chose to like just spill a seed, or like you said, Hermes cup everywhere, I noticed their life started to go down the drain. Their life, it just out of nowhere, like as soon as they started making these these undercover moves and moving and cheating on a woman and all that, their life just went down the drain. And it was like, the magic that they had, they didn't have no more. It's like this your mojo or something. You lose your you lose your magic or something. And it's like something I can't explain, but I've seen happen over and over again, brother.
Most definitely. Because like I say, your sexual energy is a magnetic power. So when you connecting with many different, other demographics of women or whatever, you like I said, you leak in energy. And then when you leak energy, you got different people pulling on your energy. This is where it's also harder for people to tap into their spiritual gifts.
Tell the people, in terms of the sun, the pulsating sun, and how much it benefits the carbon beings on planet Earth. I hear you, Rod Hayes, and a lot of other people, Billy Carson, talk about so many other beings now in the galaxy. Do they benefit as much as we benefit from the sun?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So when you talking about what you call it the Great Destroyer in the Bible, what you call it Planet Nibiru or whatever you want to call it, this is based upon the mythology of the Anunnaki and things.
BDell, kick it with the family. I'll be right back. Right, kick it with the family.
Okay. Right. So it basically works in tandem when you're talking about the Anunnaki and things of that nature. So these beings, whether you call them, disagreeable Anunnaki or you got agreeable Anunnaki, you got the cherubim and seraphim in the Bible or whatever. So these beings that come from the 19th galaxy at the 8th planet of Planet Risk or whatever, when you study Dr. Malachi Z. York's, when you study his the great majority of his teachings, and when you read a lot of his publications, he actually talks about how the energy extraction matrix will basically be upgraded by way of the energy of the mothership, because the mothership in itself has its own equi system, and that own equi system has a different, has a trilateral connection of the sun called Utu, Apsu, and Shamish. So you are also, that's in correlation to the blue star Kachina, as I was telling you about. So you have the great purification process. The great purification. You got. Are you familiar with the tri-solar systems?
Yes.
Yeah. So like I said, it works in tandem with our physiology. The best way I can explain it. You ever seen the color spectrum of Superman's garments?
Mm-hmm.
The color spectrum of Superman's garments is red, yellow, and blue. Mm-hmm. That is the trilateral connection of the three suns that's connected to the 19th galaxy or the fifth dimension of Planet Risk. So you got the yellow sun, the red sun, and the blue sun. The only way, as I was telling you before, the implementation of plasma acceleration works in conjunction with the carbon body. It's a form of magnetism. So how did Superman get his power? He got his energy from the sun, right? That's why he has a serpent in the middle of a pyramid. So that's basically connected to your Kundalini psychosis, which is a spiritual phenomenon that works in conjunction with your chakra system. So you got to be in alignment in order to reap the benefits of these energies to connect with the sun. So as I was telling you before, these beings, as far as like, what do you want to call them? Anunnaki, extraterrestrials or whatever. This is a form of a spiritual upgrade. Just like you have to upgrade your phone, they're upgrading the ethers. That's what's happening.
Why you mentioned the 19th galaxy, I think, in the Planet Ritz. How come I never heard anybody else mention Planet Ritz but Dr. York? I'm just curious. Why do you think that is? Like, I've never heard anybody mention that except him and people who have followed him after. But initially, like, I haven't heard like the Elijah Muhammad or anybody mention that planet.
You know what? I'm not sure but according to a lot of his studies, he actually was, talking about how he, decoded a great majority of Sumerian mythology and Sumerian tablets and stuff. So I don't know if it's something within the infrastructure of his work where he came across, some people get downloads. So I don't know if it's one of those things or whatever, but it's mighty funny because there's a movie, this TV series called The Man Who Fell to Earth. Yeah. And he was basically an Anunnaki being. He came down to basically revitalize the infrastructure of a fallen world. And he actually came from a tri-solar system. And he was projected to the planet. And in one of the series or whatever, in one of the episodes, he said, the guy said he's looking for the Wizard of Risk. And I did a whole breakdown of the video. I got a whole video of it on my YouTube, but I did a whole breakdown of it.
Another question, because I got interrupted. In terms of what you was touching on a little earlier with the sun and sexual reproductive organs, I had Raul Nefa Men, and I asked him this question. In terms of the Kundalini energy and that being a sexual energy, but also being a spiritual energy. Do you think? And you talking about the fluids and astral travel? When we have horny, the first thing a person does, they'll hit the porn site. They'll call
Yeah.
up a shorty, or a girl will call up a dude, or they'll look to find their girl or their wife or whoever, or the prostitute or whatever. If they horny, they trying to get that shit off. Do you think that it would be we do you think that our astral travel will be off the hook if instead of looking to have sex when we was horny, we decided to meditate? Like
Oh,
like maybe that might be powerful, huh?
yeah, most definitely, because like I said, it's all about magnetism. Like I said, that's how you upgrade the plasma acceleration that works on the Venturi effect. The Venturi effect is a velocity of gamma radiation that works in conjunction with your sexual energy. So
Yeah.
when you just tapped into that energy, you're not leaking your fluids or whatever. You're not laying down with this one and that one. You're not looking at pornography on your cell phone and things of that nature. This is when you tap into those abilities, bro. Like, but a lot of people, I mean, it sounds simple, but a lot of people don't have that discipline. They just be like,
Right.
man, I gotta do something. I gotta get these off. But a lot of people just not tapped into it. It's all about discipline. Discipline is mastery. Mastery is a form of equilibrium. Your equilibrium in itself is your God self to where you're balanced. 0 point energy. That's the reset. You reset by using your emotions as a navigation system. You don't let your sexual emotions subjugate you. That's the problem.
Right.
That's why people don't have a lot of discipline, is because of the emotional aspect that we're subjugated by.
Indeed. What did you think? I didn't get a chance to ask you. I meant to ask you this when the show first started. I'm glad I just remembered. What were your thoughts? So much talk on metaphysics and spirituality and quantum physics. What were your thoughts on the Terrence Howard interview on Joe Rogan? What did you think about that?
I didn't get to see the whole thing. Only seen
Okay.
most of it in increments or whatever, because I've been busy or whatever. But I haven't really seen a full interview. But
Okay.
What he was basically talking about, man, he's talking about some very interesting stuff, some stuff I've never heard of, and it's just something new to the table. You know what I'm saying? So as he was saying before, he's being watched for the great majority of the information that he's putting out, because he's talking about different elements and how it works in conjunction with the universe and stuff. And so it's different.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
What I think I heard him mention it. I've heard you mention this, and I've heard Dr. B mention the noble gases. I believe the 9 noble gases on the periodic table.
Uh-huh.
What exactly, for those who want to know, what exactly are the noble gases, and how is that connected to who we are?
Well, according to my independent research, you have 9 noble gases that works in conjunction with ether. You got carbon, lithium, sulfur, helium, hydrogen, exon, radon, argon, and krypton. Now, as I was telling you before, this coincides with Superman. He came from where? Planet Krypton. Like I said, all those noble gases is a form of gamma radiation that works in conjunction with the body. When you understand that, in the inception of time, they say that our skin used to be green or whatever, because that's the intrinsic, the intrinsic potent amount of melanin, I guess, neuromelanin activation or whatever. But like I said, that gamma radiation that works in conjunction with our physical structure. So those 9 noble gases in itself is one of those things where, like I said, it can cause creation or it can cause destruction. So another thing that that's in alignment, because there's going to be a configuration of 4 gas planets that's going to give off those 9 noble gases around October of this year.
Wow.
2024, right before the election. So it's kind of crazy how they haven't been campaigning for the election, because, as I was telling you before, ether, the 9 noble gases of ether has the ability to cause destruction, or it can cause creation. It can spark creation. So the 9 noble gases, as I was telling you, the dodecahedron, which is connected to the magnetic field of the planet, ether in itself amalgamates with the 4 basic elements, which is earth, air, water, fire, which is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's basically the same thing. So when you have those 4 gas giants in configuration around planet Earth, It can, like I said, it can cause many different earthquakes. It can cause volcanoes, which are basically the pimples of planet Earth. It can cause, many different things. It causes many different afflictions. So that's why I was saying, like, ether in itself, those non-noble gases, it's a gift and a curse. The planet is upgrading. The planet has to go through a birthing process. So I understand that people don't want to hear, oh, the planet is going through calamity. They don't want to hear that. But like I said, just like a woman, when she's giving birth to a child, she has to go through that process. It's going to hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's very, it's not, it doesn't feel very well. You're feeling uncomfortable. That's what the planet is in a state of uncomfortability right now, because the planet has to transition by way of the ether, by way of the noble gases that's hitting the planet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is wow. Let me ask you this. What would you describe for somebody, we keep hearing the term ether, and even hip hop heads heard the term ether years ago when Nas made a song against Jay-Z. What would be another what would you describe ether as for somebody who's having difficulty in understanding exactly what is ether?
Ether is thought. Ether is one of those things where it doesn't have corporeal form. But like I said, but when you trap ether by subatomic particles of photons light, that's where you have a compressed energy to where it creates physical matter. So where you're able to speak things into existence. Ether, like I said, that's the first thing that was ever in existence, because it's actually faster than the speed of light, because light travels at 186,000 miles per square feet. So ether is thought. It's thought forms that turns into physical matter by way of trapped photons, trapped light. So ether is your thoughts projected within the simulation. Because when you understand that the binary code system of the matrix, like I said, it's a dualistic paradox that works in tandem with zeros and ones. So the zero is a representation of the divine feminine energy, right? Which is basically the womb of creation, dark matter energy. Then you got the one. The one is a representation of photons, which is a representation of the physical state and the masculine state of the man. So that's, like I said, we live in a dualistic paradox that works on a mathematical sequence of zeros and ones. But like I said, the ether in itself has the ability, when you speak certain things into existence, it's you ever heard of gematria or study like Vedic gematria or whatever? Everything has a numerical system. Everything, whether you speak it, whether you think it, it's all connected to the ethers within the simulation.
Right. Wow. I was listening to something. I think it was Manly P. Hall. You ever heard of Manly P. Hall before?
Yeah, matter of fact, I got this. I use this book right here. Secret. You see how thick it is. I read it all once, but I use it as a reference point. There's a lot of information in it. Secret Agents of All Teachings by Manly P. Hall. And he was I think he was a Prince Hall Freemason. But this book, man, it talks about the shift. It talks about pulsating energies of the sun. It talks about the upgrading of the fifth dimensional civilizations, like I said, but it all works in conjunction with that damn sun. That's what it's all about.
Indeed. Well, I think it was him. I was watching something on YouTube. They had an audio book version of one of his books. I think it was him, and they was talking about he mentioned ether, but he was talking about the power of breath and breathing. And he said they told us what we're breathing is oxygen, but if we really knew what we were breathing, we would appreciate and take breathing much more serious. So let me ask you, in terms of the breath and in terms of breathing, they say, oh, you're breathing oxygen. Is this something more spiritual, more happening than what they're telling us when we're inhaling and exhaling? Is there something more than what they're telling us with that?
It definitely is, because when oxidation in itself basically breaks down the hemoglobin cellular structure. So when it breaks down the hemoglobin cellular structure in your physiology or whatever, that means that the body is not able to upgrade itself on an intrinsic level when you're talking about immortalized cell lines, because the oxygen in itself is a part of the spiritual cutoff. Just like you know how when in X-Men, when you see a superhero or whatever, when they get their arm cut off or whatever, they're able to regenerate themselves, but you're not able to tap into that energy because the oxygen breaks down the hemoglobin. It breaks down those cellular structures. So, like I said, oxidation in itself, basically, it's kind of works in conjunction with the aspect of how people say that you're not supposed to drink, H2O, whatever, because you're supposed to be drinking hydrogen-based water and just get your water from the fruit. It basically works in tandem with that as well. So oxidation breaks down your genetical codes, actually.
Wow. Indeed.
This is why we age.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think with this pulsating sun, do you think that will affect how we age? Like in terms, maybe people won't age, or they'll look young at a much later, or will live longer. Because I remember Billy talks about with the Anunnaki, there was like a cap put on our telomeres or something like that, where we only could live up to a certain age. So how is that impacting us and what we call aging?
Like I said, when you understand, now this is in correlation to the mental stargate. Now you have the neuroendocrine transducer. So when you understand, when you have the neuroendocrine transducer activated, it basically transmutes the carbonated body into a crystalline state. So when you're able to crystallize, that your cells don't break down as much as they did, during that process. So I don't know if it'll take us 20 years, 40 years, or 50 years to get to that energy, but crystallization has to, the carbon body has to transmute into a crystalline state. It has to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of part of the prophecy, because like I said, the planet is going back into the time where you had a fifth dimensional civilization where people were able to live for thousands of years. So that same energy is coming right back to the planet. It may not happen, during this time period or whatever, but like I said, it may take, another, 100 years, 50 years. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
So it's the upgrading of genetics.
Yeah. When you in your other video, when we're familiar with the term Stargate, and you mentioned the mental Stargate. How exactly do we activate this mental Stargate?
You activate it by separating yourself from the conscious energy grid of the three-dimensional world. So everything in third density basically subjugates the mind. So as I was telling you before, you have to get away from the lunar energy. You got to use your emotions as a navigation system. Use the material plane as a form of evolution. So, like I said, sometimes you got to use the matrix in order to get out of it. So, like I said, a lot of people be like, well, I don't like materialism and stuff like that. Sometimes you got to spend money in order to create your own energetic space to where you don't need outside stimulation. That's why I build up my energetic space. To where this is kind of like my just like, you got monks, they got their own. This is like my tomb here, you know what I'm saying? I got my TV room. So it's like I said, you got to use that energy of the material world and you transmute it, not because you have a veneration and a credence, for materialistic items. But like I said, you gotta transgress that energy. You gotta use it as a form of a positive energy. So like I said, I don't have to go out and do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I go out to the gym, I get some sun, but I want to maintain in my energetic space. This is my cipher.
Indeed. Yeah, that our home, I think we don't understand how important it is to design our home to our liking spiritually and just psychologically, so we could be as comfortable as possible. Because that's the best place to tap in spiritually at home. That's your throne. So you got to design it how you want. So yeah, I'm definitely in favor for that, my brother.
That's a fact. That's a fact because your sacred energetic space is a emulation of what's going on with you mentally and spiritually. Yeah. So if your room is a mess, your life is a mess. Your car is a mess, your life is a mess. Your house is a mess, your life is a mess. Because like I said, that same energy embarks upon real life situations.
Yeah. That's why I think I was talking to you before. I'm not sure who. And brother was saying how we make sure before you leave that house, make sure you make your bed. And it'll make a world of a difference. Something as simple as that will make a world of a difference. And when I started doing it, I was like, damn, he's right. It's a completely different vibe. When you come home and your bed is made, whole different vibe, yo.
Most definitely.
Yeah, shit is amazing. Let me talk about since we're talking about the sun and this pulsating sun, and people are reporting seeing so many things in the sky, UFOs and everything. Yeah, you was talking about UFOs. What in terms of UFOs being cloaked, What would you say is going on right now in the skies with UFOs? Are they cloaked as clouds? Are they cloaked as something else? Like, how does this cloaking technology work with UFOs, where there may be one right in the sky, but I can't see it?
Okay. Uh, well, when you understand that the nimbic system works in conjunction with the nimbostratus, real clouds are basically formed by way of extraction of radiation from the ground and is transmuted into the nimbostratus. So the cloaking technology of UFOs happens when you have UFOs going into fourth octave ether. When you go into fourth octave ether, ether is a form of a gas state. That ether has the ability to extract all electrical devices in order to cloak itself. It basically extracts energy from everything in third density. So that's why when you watch the movie Nope, in order for the ship to cloak itself, all the energy, the electrical devices basically shut down. But when it was able to show itself or whatever, that's when electricity and technology, it basically didn't shut down. So fourth octave ether, it basically extracts all energy from technological devices to cloak itself. So when you see a cloaked, UFO or whatever, it has the ability to basically extract energy from everything in third density. That's what it's pulling. It's pulling on energy.
So is this why they're often over water, because they extract the electricity from the water?
I'm not sure. That's a good question, though. That's a good question. That's definitely a good question. But that's how they that's how they cloak themselves. They pulling on all the energies. So like I said, that also correlates with the energy, the electrical grid system. There's been so many things going on with our devices. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like the electricity's been going bad. I thought I had to call the electrician. I thought maybe I had some bad outlets or something. But what's happening is these new energies that's on the planet ever since the solar eclipse, you're getting a lot more glitching. And I put a video in my last video, the Mental Stargate. It shows you in the nighttime, there's a guy, he had a ring camera, and he was basically showing like the front of his yard, and you look into the sky, and it was showing, it went from nighttime, and then the background, the sky went green to where the UFO was able to show itself. Like I said, gamma radiation, ether, by way of the energy of the sun, has the ability to manipulate the grid system. That goes all the way back to the pulsating energy of the sun. You're going from green to blue, right? It's an ascension process. It's not only acclimated to the color spectrum of your chakra system, because like I said, blue, the blue star Kachina is the great purifier. You purify yourself by activating the throat chakra from green to blue. It's an ascension process. Then you get into the ultraviolet light spectrum, the Christ consciousness. So it's all a transmutation process.
Why was you mentioned Hermes and the fluids earlier, and you also mentioned in green a lot. I always hear people associate green with Tahuti and the emerald tablets. What is it about green and the emerald tablets and Tahuti? What's the connection?
Well, green is a representation of evolution. So whether you best way I can break it down, when you understand like Hinduism, you got Krishna is the outer manifestation of Shiva. Shiva means 7. G is the 7th letter of the alphabet, which is also where you get the color green when you got the word God. Because when you study the supreme mathematics of the 5% nation, 7 represents God. Your God self is your Christ self, your Christ consciousness. Your Christ consciousness is activated by the olfactory nerve. The olfactory nerve is your spirit of Melchizedek. The spirit of Melchizedek is Tahuti, Thoth, or Hermes, or Enki.
Right. Melchizedek is
the spirit of Melchizedek.
You mentioned Melchizedek already.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear. Okay. All right. Yeah, man. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Family, I want to take a break real quick and show y'all. For those, we got about 2,300 people in the chat with the brother BDell. I want to remind y'all the brother BDell will be, if you would like to meet the brother BDell, he will be present at the gathering of the masses. This is the gathering of all gatherings. Everybody will be there, family. Everybody's going to be. This is going to be an amazing event. It's happening August 10th and August 11th in Stonecrest, Georgia. August 10th, the Queen is speaking, Queen of Fua, Dr. Drew Pukram, Sister Myra. Sunday, August 11th, Dr. B Series will open up with a big musical ceremony, and he will also talk. Yaki Awaken will be speaking. The brother Isaiah, the Duke of Tears, will be speaking. But besides the people on the stage, we got everybody in the community coming through. We got Professor Griff, we got Soleil, we got Aquarius Maximus, we got Red Pill, we got Blue Pill, we got KT the Arch Degree, we got Infodishi, we got Ross Ben, we got Hank Rising Sun, who's selling, he has special products, especially for y'all in Atlanta. It's going to be the event of a lifetime. You do not want to miss this event. Even Minister Jew is coming. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I don't have the list in front of me now. Minister Jew is coming through. I mean, the list just goes. Sharif Bey is coming through. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on. So it's going to be a magnificent event. Let me share this link one more time in the chat before we get started with some Q&A. I want you to give me some Q&A for the brother B-Dell. Yeah, King Simon is going to be in the building. Shout out to King Simon. He will be in the building as well. I just shared. Indeed, I just shared the link in the chat. It's also pinned at the top of the chat. Also, real quick before we get to the Q&A, we have we have the family who has signed up already. Let me show you something. We got a Discord group popping right now. Shout out to everybody who signed up already. We started a Discord community, so everybody, by the time y'all get to the conference, everybody gonna know each other. You're gonna be like, oh, you so and so from Discord. Oh, you so and so. Oh, what's good? What's good? What's good? We're not gonna be strangers. So shout out to everybody who has logged in already. I just sent this link about an hour ago, and as you sign up, you'll get the link within an hour. So shout out to everybody who has already signed up. Everybody who signs up, we'll get a link. Right now, this is only a live event. It's not live stream right now. So somebody said Rod Hayes. Yeah, I'm trying to get Rod Hayes to come through too. It's up in the air right now. It's a possibility. So I'm gonna continue to talk to my brother Rod Hayes. He has family obligations. I try to get a lot of people. Some people were busy. Seven Beaumont, he's out of the country. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna continue to reach out to my brother Rod Hayes and seeing if I could get him to come through as well. But it's just going to be great to finally meet my brother B-Dell. Been doing a show with him for a year, so it's going to be absolutely great. Give me some questions for my brother B-Dell, man. What a show. We kicking it about this blinking, pulsating sun. Give me some questions for my brother B-Dell that we could go into real quick before we get out of here, family. Let me see what y'all talking about. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. Somebody, I keep hearing about June 6th. And what's today? What's the deal with what's that? 666?
Yeah. What's crazy, I was doing before we started this presentation and this broadcast, I was doing some research and whatever. And what I recently just came across, like today, I told you that you have the alignment of 6 planets that happens every 100 years. So what just happened not too long ago, there's a super earthquake being activated in the Cascadian Subduction Zone and in the Northwest Pacific, and then you got Los Angeles and Las Vegas, and it says within 3 to 5 days.
Wow.
What it says. So that's a publication that says that emergency prediction update talking about the West Coast super earthquake. So I don't know if that has something to do with the 6 planets aligning is going to be the precursor to that, because like I said, when you have an alignment, there's always an energy there. Yeah.
Wow, indeed. You was also to us in terms of you mentioned the mental stargate. In terms of stargates on the planet and the pulsating sun, is there any stargates or portals that we should know about that are being activated across the country that maybe some of us should tap into, areas we should go to tap into that may be highly active at this time?
Anywhere that you have like mounds are basically gateway portals or whatever. You got St. Louis, Missouri, where you have the St. Louis Arc that was built by CIA agents in the National Geospatial Agency. All these people, they know that certain land masses that basically works in tandem with the Big Dipper star constellation. So you got 7 different energy centers on the planet. You got St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit. Then you got Philly, New York, Boston, and Washington, D.C., I think. And all those geographical areas are basically in alignment with the Big Dipper star constellation. All those are basically interstellar gateways. So that's why they subjugate those energies. That's why you see in those areas, you got the great majority of, carbonated beings on the planet there. You got a lot of your best speakers on the planet, when you study, ancient history or whatever, Dr. What's his face? Noble Drew Ali. Then he came from Detroit. Then you had Malcolm X. He came from the Detroit and the Chicago area, or whatever. So all those areas are basically in alignment with the Big Dipper star constellation. So all those 7 cities are basically energy centers. So anywhere you got mounds, anywhere places like the Cascadian Seduction Zone in Arizona. We already talked about the Grand Canyon. That was my first broadcast. All those areas are basically highly, intrinsic, areas for, spiritual energy and activation and stuff.
Okay. Are the dimensional layers thin? I was sun gazing in a dream, and the sun here is more powerful than the sun I seen in the astral realm.
Yeah, most definitely, because this is just my, based on my own independent research and my own independent thoughts. I don't remember, 10 years ago, seeing the sun and the moon out at the same time. So when you see the sun and the moon out at the same time, that is a form of balancement. Everything's going back into its original balance. So the moon in itself is what subjugated the spiritual energy on the planet. So the veil is being thin right now because that gamma radiation is basically breaking down the photon-like spectrum that works in tandem with Saturn and the moon. So that's basically the simulation. The simulation is being exposed, just like Sister Myra said. Everything is being exposed right now. Everything is being exposed because the simulation is basically short-circuiting. Basically, everything is basically malfunctioning.
Wow, it's good. Amazing times, y'all. Somebody said, "Will Billy be there?" No, Billy's the only reason Billy won't be there is because he has one of his Anunnaki premieres that he got to be at. If he did not have that, I talked to him already. He would have definitely have been there. But that's the only reason why Billy Carson won't be at the gathering of the masters. Let's get to somebody said how to join the Discord. You gotta have a ticket to the conference. To that Discord is strictly for people who will be at the conference. All right, let's get to somebody. What brother wants to know how to stay focused on semen retention.
Transmute that energy. It's all based upon a form of alchemy. What you got to do is use that sexual energy and you transmute that energy. Start, doing many different things that are basically self-affirming. Go to the gym, work out, do something to where it's going to take your mind off, certain things, women, and where you won't look at pornography or whatever. Just, it's a transmutation process. Like I said, you got to be mentally disciplined. That is the form of mastery.
Indeed. By the way, speaking of semen retention and energy and all of that, Wayne Chandler is going to be on tomorrow, family. Wayne Chandler do the Qigong, so he will be on tomorrow night at 9. I seen somebody just mention him in the chat, so it just made me think about it. How do you access the Discord? You will get an email. You get an email within 24 hours of purchasing your ticket. That's how you get it. You get an email. All right, let's get to some more questions. Shout out to everybody who sent the super chat. Somebody says, do you think humanity is ready for extraterrestrials?
Nope. I don't think so right now, but when you have the ethers being activated, we being forced to basically upgrade ourselves on a mental level to where you're able to, understand these anomalies that's taking place on the planet. So, the great majority of people are not ready for that energy because, like I said, you still got people who are stuck in monotheistic religion. So when you see, anomalies like that, that's going to, scare people. It's basically going to break their mind because they're not ready for that reality. They're not ready for it. But that's not a coincidence that, as I was telling you before, I had a video called "The Great Sign Before the Sun Sign."
Mm-hmm.
In that video, when you go to Jonah chapter 3, verse 4, it says, "In 40 days, Nineveh shall be overthrown." Nineveh is a nomenclature title for America. America is Mystery Babylon. So 40 days after the so-called solar eclipse, that's when the Vatican, they put out a publications talking about to have guidelines for spiritual and supernatural apparitions on the planet. It was like a guideline to, prepare people for it. So they know the implications of what's going to be taking place when people start to see certain things, whether you think it's a extraterrestrial or Anunnaki or Draconian or whatever. But they know something is here. There's a new presence here on the planet ever since that black sun was projected in our atmosphere on April 8th. So, like I said, there's a new energy here. So it's one of those things where you got to be mentally prepared for it. Because, like I said, it's going to break your mind. Because, like I said, everybody is subjected to the implications of academic fraud and monotheistic religion. They stuck in those regions.
Hey, do you think the extraterrestrials would care who wins the presidential election? Like, do they care who's the leader of a country?
I don't think, I think that's more, that whole infrastructure in itself is facilitated by patriarchy. So when it comes to extraterrestrials, they don't really care about the dichotomy between, Democrat and Republic. They don't care about none of that. But this all something, that was created by the infrastructure of the people that they gave power to.
Right. Indeed. Somebody got a question about the ticket. Yes, the ticket you purchase, it's for both days. Yes, the ticket you purchase is for both days, family. So both days. Ascended Infinite Goddess wants to know, how is the pulsating of the sun affecting the moon energy? Good question.
Well, as I was telling you before, you have Metatron's cube. Metatron's cube is the hexahedron sigil that sits on top of Saturn. Saturn is also a gas planet. So as I was telling you before, the magneto-hydrodynamic of the Cassini gaps of the rings of Saturn creates the holographic projection that works in tandem with the moon. That's the lunar cycle. The lunar cycle is a part of the spiritual cutoff that took us away from our spiritual abilities that was connected with the true sun. So the sun is basically breaking down the holographic simulation, the energy extraction matrix. The reason I say energy extraction, because your energy and motion, your emotions is connected to that energy of the moon. So the sun is basically reverting you right back into balance. That is the great reset. You have to reset on an internal level in order to understand it from an external level.
Right. Wow. You're talking so much about the emotions, and I know how important of a role it plays with what's going on right now. Did you see the preview for that movie Inside Out 2?
No, I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna check it out because I know it's gonna have some gems in there.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing that. I definitely look forward to seeing that. All right. Let's keep it moving with a couple of more questions before we get out of here. What a show. I seen a question I want to ask. Hold up, where's it at? Where is it? All right, I don't see it, but let me ask this one while I look for the other one. What are your thoughts on the books of Enoch?
The book of Enoch talks about the Watchers. So that I'm glad you brought that up because there's a movie that's coming out next week called The Watchers. And the Watchers are what you call the cherubim. The cherubim are the Nephala. Nephala is the Hebrew word for Nephilim. The Nephilim is 1/3 of the galaxy that was projected to the planet and made it with the daughters of men. The daughters of men is the Canaanite. The Canaanite, so that philosophy in itself correlates with Els Holy and Jill, Revelation 17:17. The evil reptilian gave power to the beast. As I was telling you before, the beast is the Canaanite. So that means that this is all in alignment with the so-called end of the 6,000 year purification period. So the 6,000 years being up in 2024 in the karmic year, karmic retribution. This is why the house of cards is basically starting to fall down. So now when we go all the way back to the book of Enoch, the book of Enoch, it tells you about, the Nephilim and things of that nature. And I remember in I think it was in 1408, Thomas Arundel, he was hired by the Vatican and appointed, and they made him, take out the book of Enoch. It was redacted basically because it's talking about extraterrestrial life.
Indeed. Indeed.
And they also talk about sirens in the book of Enoch too, so that correlates with mermaids and and things of that nature.
Right. And in terms of the mermaids, and I heard you talk about the Mers, the ancient Mers. What is our connection to what we know as mermaids, BDell, in antiquity?
Well, I haven't really did an intrinsic study on mermaids or whatever, but we all know about the Dogon tribe in Mali or whatever in West Africa, and they had the dolphin beings or whatever. So I don't know if that's also in conjunction with that, because also in West Africa, that's where you have, Fez, Morocco and things of that nature. And we all know about the Moors and the Mers and things like that. So that, correlates to, indigenous types of spirituality or whatever. But I haven't really looked into the mermaids, too deep or whatever, because I don't really find a lot of information on it.
Indeed. Shout out for the super chats, family. Everybody who's sending the super chat.
Definitely appreciate it. Dre OG. Shout out to Dre.
Yeah, shout out to that brother right there. What impact will the solar flares pulsating sun have on the cell towers and satellites, if any?
Well, gamma radiation creates, an amalgamation of ionization. Ionization particles basically breaks down the energy grid. The energy grid is what controls all technological devices. So as I was telling people before, there's a diametrical difference between an EMP and a CMP. In an EMP and a CME. A CME is gamma radiation, that ionization that breaks down the grid. The EMP is basically something, electromagnetic pulse deficiency device that basically, takes out the power in a certain geographical area.
Indeed. Wow. Okay, they want to know, what is the 3 days of darkness? Will we sleep through it?
Man, I think, this is just my philosophy on it. The 3 days of darkness, I think it's more allegorical. I don't think it's more on a physical aspect. I've been trying to find some research, and I've been reading, and I've been trying to, get my downloads or whatever. But, I think it's more allegorical than anything, because, we all know that it's inevitable that the grid is going to shut down, because the World Economic Forum, they said the grid is going to shut down, within 2 years, so that's all, we all know that everything they do is basically premeditated.
All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. They want to know, why does it seem the sun is not the same as if this planet has been moved out of our original location?
Wait, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah. Maybe she's talking about a lot of people are saying the sun doesn't, it's emitting a white light instead of a yellow one, or
well,
it's rising at a different spot than it used to rise at. Maybe they might be talking about that.
Yeah, we're going through a shift. Everything is shifting. As I was telling you, the precessional circle is based upon the sun's precessional movement. So, like I said, the sun simulator is operating on fractions of light. That white light, we all know, that's why when we was in kids in third grade and second grade, we used to draw the sun. It was yellow. It used to be a yellow sun. Now it's the white light. That's the true spiritual light. That's basically exposing the simulation by way of the intrinsic gamma radiation. It's shooting off energies that basically creates ionization particles. So that new energy, of the sun, that's why everything is getting exposed. This is all a form of karmic retribution by way of the sun.
Indeed. Yeah, I just seen something on Yahoo earlier today when they was talking about this heat wave that's getting ready to hit the West Coast. And I was thinking about they said a heat dome will send temperatures into the triple digits across the West as fires burn. So yeah, that sun is heating up. You was talking, that sun is definitely heating up all over right now.
Yep, because the heat in itself has the ability to shift tectonic plates. So that heat in itself, like I said, is going to cause uh, many different forms of, weather modifications. You know,
Yeah.
and those weather modifications in itself, like I said, it can cause tsunamis, floods, because it's like one of those things where they're trying to subjugate the energy of the sun at the same time while trying to create these weather modifications. So in itself, that's going to create calamity.
Y'all say, a lot of y'all say our emotions control the weather,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the natives used to do like rain dancing. We hear about the rain dancing where they would dance in the rain. What do you think about, there's certain emotions that we hear that is that a lot of people say is bad, like let's say anger.
Mm-hmm.
But when we think about anger, we think about somebody getting hot. Do you think anger will cause the planet to heat up? A collective carbon group consciousness that's angry, because we're usually, we don't get angry about much. We're usually docile. But do you think anger will cause the planet to heat up and the sun to get hotter?
Oh yeah, most definitely. The reason I say that is because, but it's all in alignment to how you transmute that energy. So like I said, if I get angry about something, I'm like, I'm super charged up and I'm mad about something. Instead of doing something that's in a form of degradation, I'm gonna transmute that energy. I might go to the gym, I might go hit the bag or something, I might go for a run, but it's all about what you do with that energy to where it can basically put you in alignment to where it can activate the dodecahedron, activate the magnetic field of the planet, activate the Schumann resonance, which is the heartbeat of the planet Earth. When you activate those energies and it's basically in alignment with the Earth, like I said, that's where the real shifting is going to be taking place. It's all about how you transmute that energy.
Somebody wants to know, where's this question at? Is the sun causing the body to be more tired more than usual?
Yeah, well, it depends though. Um, this is a time where you're not able to do certain things that you basically used to 5, 10 years ago. You can't, when you go into these barbecues, I understand people still like going to barbecues and stuff. You can't go up and get 3, 4, 5 plates or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta do you know, uh portion control. You got to
Right.
eat a lot more better. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to make yourself heavy. You got to make, you know what I'm saying? You don't make your vessel very, very light to where you can take up on these energies, because otherwise that energy is going to dematerialize your physical structure.
Right. So our diet has to be, is more important now than
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, it's more important because the planet is shifting. You got to shift along with it.
Yeah.
People that love going on them barbecue, so you know what I'm saying, you got to stay away from certain things. If even if you just, if you eat meat or whatever you eat, just do portion control. You don't want to make your vessel too heavy.
Right. Indeed. They want to know, do you stockpile, be down? Do you stockpile?
But as far as,
Like food. I guess they're talking about food, like,
oh yeah,
uh,
I do it in increments. I do it in
mhm.
increments. I got, certain things stashed up or whatever. Um, in case something happens or whatever. I'm always on point. You never know what's gonna happen.
Indeed, indeed. All right, we're gonna do two more questions, then we're gonna get out of here. Somebody wants to know, what are your thoughts on solar flares in the body?
Well, solar flares. So when you understand one of the first law of thermodynamics, when you understand the conservation of energy, that heat can transmute into electrical energy. Electrical energy has the ability to work in tandem with the carbon body. So those solar flares that's hitting the planet, that gamma radiation is a form of magnetism. It's a form of spiritual, mental, and physical upgrading. This is why a lot of us, like I said, the pulsating sun, a lot of us are starting to get twitches on the body. You're starting to get twitches on the side of your head, heart palpitations, and things of that nature. That
Mm,
means that you have to upgrade your physiology. Stop eating, like I said, you can't eat 3 to 4 or 5 damn plates. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You got to make your vessel very light so where you can take these new energies in.
yeah, I started practicing intermittent fasting
Yeah, yeah.
because I
You
noticed
got
the food was affecting me more than it was before. So I feel what you're saying with the diet. Definitely feel you on that
another
one.
thing. Yeah, and another thing, me and my girl was talking about it. You got to be very meticulous of these alcohol. The alcohol is very different now. So if you do drink, just drink wine. Do drink wine or drink something, champagne or something like that. Everything in increments, because like I said, it's a new energy on the planet.
Oh shit! Hold on. You got to tell me that because I just had some tequila last week. You got to explain this one. I just had some Don Julio.
Yeah.
What you mean by that?
No. Me and my girl was talking about it. And then we seen another girl on TikTok talking about it. And I was like, damn, like you on point. And I said, we were just talking about the liquor. That liquor is different now. Like something, it's like a shift. I don't know if it's the liquor's the same in our physiology. It's basically not taking the liquor like how we used to. I put a post on Facebook. You can't do the shit that you used to. You know what I'm saying? You gotta evolve past that. Like if anything, just do it in increments. If you a person that drinks all the time, shit, just drink once a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, but make sure it's something to where you don't want to cut it off cold turkey. Because if you cut it off cold turkey, you're not really over it. So, like I said, everything is a process. So everything, the smoke, what you smoke, all that stuff is different now.
Wow, very interesting. Wow. Somebody said our tickets sold. No, tickets are not sold out. The link is at the top of the chat, family. It's at the top of the chat. It's live in Atlanta, August 10th and 11th. The information is on the flyer. So yeah, they're not sold out. Last question I want to ask you. Where's it at? Where's that question at? Okay, Judah wants to know what effect does this energy have on pregnancy?
Well, like I said, it depends on what demographic that you're talking about. You have the upgrading of non-ether, because as I was telling you before, it's all about the conservation of energy. So for those who are intrinsically and ethically connected to the planet, it's going to upgrade your physiology. Now, when it comes to certain demographics, like I said, we were talking about how Japan is offering $75,000 to black men to basically impregnate their women. Why is that? It's because there's new energy on the planet. The sun is heating up. So it's one of those things, if your genetics and your reproductive organs is not connected to the energy of the sun, it's basically going to cut off your bloodline.
Yikes. Wow.
It has the ability to do that. So non-ether is that's connected to the Fibonacci sequence of nature in the form of evolution. Six ether dematerializes and dissipates into nothingness.
That's so six ether dissipates into nothingness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, like I said, spirit, and then you got beings that have a soul and a spirit. So like I said, everybody's not the same. A lot of people like to propagate like we all the same or whatever. But if that was the case, you know what I'm saying? Like you got carbonated people living we got natural people living in an unnatural system. This is why you get the diabetes and all that other stuff. This is why all that stuff takes place.
Indeed.
You know?
No, indeed.
I don't want to go too deep into that.
Yeah. Hey, man, BDell, man, I want to thank you once again. Amazing show as usual. Oh, yeah, somebody mentioned this because you did talk about this on your show also, the flute. Andre 3000 and a flute. How is that connected with what we're talking about with the sun or the extraterrestrials or UFOs? What does the flute have to do with all of that?
So, when you ever heard about the children of Zimbabwe?
I just heard about it a couple of weeks ago. Yes.
Children of Zimbabwe, when they seen these extraterrestrials, this is a real thing that actually took place. This is a real phenomenon. I think it was back in the 1980s, going into the 90s in Zimbabwe. It was a school during the daytime. These kids, they seen extraterrestrials getting off a spaceship. It landed at the school during the time when they had recess. And what happened was, one of the kids said when they seen the UFO or whatever, it had like a flute sound. Because one thing you got to understand about flutes have a ethereal energy, ether. It's an ether that doesn't take corporeal form. And that same ether is a form of gamma radiation. That gamma radiation is in alignment with the color spectrum of green because it works in tandem with the Schumann resonance. So as I was telling you before, that's how you know that, Andre 3000 is basically tapped into the energy, because he knows, there's a picture I got of him. He got the same garments as the Blue Star Kachina entity. Because you, like I said, you go from green to blue, and then you go from blue to ultraviolet. It's a form of evolution based upon the chakra system. So, like I said, blue is a representation of the great purifier. The blue star Kachina, there is a blue star, there is a blue sun, but on an internal level, we are blue star Kachinas too, because the truth has an octave quark energy. Quark energy is contained of protons and neutrons. And those protons and neutrons work in conjunction with the leptons. That's a form of magnetism. So when you speak truth, that purifies the body. When you speak truth, that purifies the ethers. When you speak truth, that purifies the planet. That's the blue star Kachina.
Man, this was family. This was a powerful show here tonight. Yo, BDell be going in, right, y'all? Oh man. Yo, you be going in, bro. Yo, keep up the great work. Tell the people before we get out of here, tell the people how they could get in touch with you and anything you got that you want to let them know about.
You can find me on BDell1014, BDELL1014 on my YouTube. You can find me there on Instagram, BDell1014, and Bridal Rice Bay on Facebook.
Indeed. Hey, with that being said, family, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Once again, family, the BDell will be in the building August 10th and 11th. He's gonna be there networking, talking with y'all, kicking it with y'all. Come come support, come meet BDell and a host of other speakers. It's gonna be an amazing, energetic experience. This is happening August 10th and 11th. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. With that being said, thank you once again, my brother BDell, and I will talk to you soon, my brother.
Peace, brother. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.